right. All right.
All right.
We are here on the Between Two Sheets podcast with none other than the Pluckster. We're back and we're at it again.
Oh, well, thank you for having me here. I'm very impressed by all of this gear.
Oh, yeah. It's super pro now, huh?
Actually, my name's not Plucky anymore. It's Pluckanos.
I thought it was Pluckules.
Oh, no, or Plurcules.
No, Plurcules is like a plural. You'd have to be two people.
No. Ancient Greek. Well, actually, it should be Plericles.
Oh, that's even worse.
Because Hercules is actually Heracles. I think the Romans called him Hercules. But anyway, yeah, when in Greece.
It's marketing, man.
Because I'll be going to Greece soon. Pluckanos.
Yeah.
I wish I thought of Pluckules, but one of my viewers said, "Oh, you should have been Pluckules."
So yeah, tell me about that. What's going on? So wait, whoa. Let's start from the beginning. Let's start when you lost your catamaran. And let's hear the story of what happened. Because what I tell people when they ask me, like, hey, what's going on with Plucky? I tell people, well, Plucky and I had kind of similar boats. They were similar designer. It was a Loch Crowther boat.
Same designer.
Same designer. It was a Loch Crowther boat. It was very similar boat. You had like the end of Loch Crowther, the better design, actually.
H216A.
Yeah, he started numbering them right at the end of his...
Three were made.
Really?
Now there's only two left.
What was the one that he had personally?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it was a H216.
Oh, was it? Oh, I don't know.
What he did was, in my version in 1984, I think they were actually designed in 79, but he put a real big camber on the bottom of the boat, and it did this hobby horsing thing.
Yeah.
And then some people put bow bulbs on the front, like a cruise ship, to counteract that, and to counteract the wave piercing bows going like really deep into the water. And that helped, but it really wasn't the right design. And then when they came out with the Shockwave, which another friend had, they kind of made it more
really
of a flush
smooth,
deck, real
wasn't it?
smooth,
We had one
real
in Sydney.
aerodynamic, really cool boat, fast. And then he took all of those designs and what he learned from all that, and he made the last of his boats, which was your design.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, people, we both had all the same boat, and we both lost our boats.
That's right.
And when I tell people what happened with Plucky, I say, like, he totally screwed up the whole marketing part of it.
Well, I was heartbroken, my friend.
Yeah.
Like, imagine like this. I was doing YouTube just to get by. I was earning probably in those days, I don't know, $100 a week. And with my crew, I was $5 a day budget and food. That was it. Right? And so $100 was getting me by. There was no money.
Wait, $5 a day with your crew?
With crew.
Because you were spearfishing?
Yes, and we were having like chickpeas were cheap in Australia, and it was basically just rice and fish. And we'd have hummus, every second day or something.
Are you a good hummus maker?
Well, it's not much to do, mate. It's just
we should have a hummus off.
Well, it's been a while because I can't get good chickpeas here.
I got black
cheap
beans.
Chickpeas, because I'm still on a budget, because at the moment I'm actually saving my literal every penny, and that's why I'm still in San Blas, because I'm doing the design, doing Zoom calls with the structural engineers and the naval architects.
Whoa, you're getting way too ahead of the program.
You want to go back
here.
to
I just want you to like recap on your life, from what happened with the cap.
Right.
What happened there? Because you put out like 4 cryptic videos that didn't really make any sense, that were like you trying to use a spinnaker to get your boat into Crocodile Land so you could fix it. What happened? Well,
basically, it was a monumental mistake on my part, coming into an unknown anchorage at night. And I was lulled into that by having all the tracks from previous cruises.
Oh, no, really?
I had all the Google Maps. I had everything. And, but still, it's still my fault. I hit an uncharted rock, but it's still bad. Anyway, so I lost it, and I tried to save it, and Marguerite was freaked out. And
I remember seeing her eyeballs. They were like saucers.
I just had to get her out of it. I think I made a monumental mistake with respect to. I actually should have. It all came back down to money, because we had nothing. Like literally, there was nothing, right? And I had companies saying it's going to be $100,000 to get it out. How am I going to get 100 grand, right? But what I could have done is I could have borrowed a little bit of money and I could have got a seaplane in. And as it came in, it could have brought me, say, 60 kilos of polyester resin, lots of mat, some bits of wood, some screws, maybe a outboard motor, right? And as he came in, he'd drop all that off, hopefully maybe with a person to help, because I need someone with a shotgun because I'm going to be in the same beach fixing this boat. And Croc's there, they're smart. On the third day, if you're doing the same thing, and I'll be doing the same thing, waiting for the tide to recede, doing whatever I was doing at that job, I'll be in the same spot doing the same thing. That Croc, third day I wouldn't be there. So I'd need someone there with a shotgun or someone just to look out. And so ideally, someone would have come, they would have taken Margarita back, and then I would have just plastered it up as best as I could and then sailed it and maybe had a little 10 horsepower and that would have been the thing to do, but I didn't. But still, that was going to be 5 to 10 grand. Where was I going to get that? I mean...
you could have borrowed that for sure.
Perhaps, but, I'm kicked in the guts, literally not thinking, not sleeping, and, great thought, you need to be well rested. Well, there was no rest. I was getting 2.25 hours. I remember 2.25 hours. I go, look, it was crazy. And you kicked in the guts and just a wreck, because I put everything into this boat. And so there's no thought of marketing. There was no thought of, I need to get help. I was buggered.
Yeah,
I was buggered. I was lost.
I was too. I feel you. Well, I got 2 comments on that. First of all, that would have been a hell of a build channel. And second of all, you were fucking crazy for even thinking about doing that. That's the only thing I had to comment on.
What? Thinking of doing what?
Like going into Crocland and spending 3 months trying to replaster the bottom of the boat.
There was no doubt in my mind I would have got it done. I would have got it done. Whether I would have,
been eaten.
I wouldn't have got it done then. I probably would have needed help. But you see, if you had the thought, my YouTube is real, okay? It's not, if I was unreal, I could have got a marketing manager in, I could have done this and I could have used this for all it's worth. I could have raised money, but I was, number one, I had no money, where I was in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't have the brain capacity or the emotional, what would you call it, support to get, or to even see that. I couldn't see that. All I was just kicked in the gutter and completely at a loss.
Yeah.
And so I remember when I got back to Darwin, all I did was to try and get sleep, because I needed to get sleep to start thinking, because I couldn't think. I just did exercise continually to try and exhaust I was running, I was doing push-ups, sit-ups.
Actually, that's something I
was doing
did
1,200 sit-ups in one sitting, and I do that twice a day.
Jesus, dude.
1,200. Not the same ones, different ones, and I'd be punishing myself because I wanted to hurt myself. Yeah. Because of what I did. I made this horrendous mistake, put Margarita's life in danger. But then I needed to get sleep to try and get myself out of it. And then gradually, this horrible, dark angst that was at the pit of my being gradually receded. But I was still having nightmares at night. I was waking up going, it was...
Were you scared when it happened?
No, not at all.
Were you scared for your life?
Not in the slightest. The conditions were so fine. If it was horrible conditions, well, I don't know. I don't. Maybe I'm a bit stupid. Maybe I'm related too much to this guy. That doesn't worry me. I don't get worried about. I don't get. Yeah, no. I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared. I knew there was a big problem.
Margarita was.
Yes. I knew it would float. It wouldn't float well.
Yeah. You're lucky it did.
Well, yeah, it has to float.
So was the rock wasn't on one side, it was on both sides.
It cleaned up every hull.
It just scraped the whole bottom of the hull off and then pushed the engines up into the boat.
And the rudders smashed it all up.
You're kind of lucky that happened and it didn't just sink one, because then it would have flipped, right?
No, it wouldn't have flipped.
No?
No, it was all calm. It's fine. if it didn't do such tremendous damage around the engine and the rudder, because I made my own, what would you call it, a bulkhead that was should float, but it tore through all of that.
Shit.
And so that would have been much easier to sail it because it was really dragging it. I mean, you saw it. I mean, I couldn't steer it. I had no rudders.
It was pretty awesome to see that.
I
know it's a dark part of your life, but I've never seen anybody try that. I don't even know if I would.
Well, that's the only. Well, what else can I do?
Yeah.
You couldn't tow it. It was probably weighing 30 ton at that point in time, and no steering. And then I was criticised. Actually, it was funny. I made a bridle to tow it with my boat in forward. But unless you do it, you cannot tow something so heavy because eventually it'll pull to the side. The only way I could do it was put in reverse. And I was just trying to steer it just to bring it round so I could get the spinnaker or Jenica filled to get it. But that was to get it round to a bay. And so I was thinking, if I get it up onto this beach and there's such big tides, I'd just incrementally get it higher and higher up onto the beach. And then...
Like tie it to a tree and
there's no tree. I'd have to dig anchors around rocks or something.
Oh, God.
There's nothing there, man. There's no bushes. There's no water. There's nothing. And this is the other thing. People go, oh, why don't you get someone to help? There's no one for 380 nautical miles either direction. I was right in the middle. There's nothing there. No roads, nothing.
I've heard.
You don't see anyone. And so you can't, there's no help, you know?
How often do boats go by there? I mean, are you fairly lucky that you were able to get a rescue there?
I think the cruise ship that came past, I mean, we got excellent accommodation.
Oh, it was a cruise ship?
Yeah. A small cruise ship for oldies wanting to pay $1,000 a day.
And you got on there for how many days?
Yeah, and I got the second Royal Suite.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. Still couldn't sleep. Still doing sit-ups and push-ups in the room until I was
You're still like
dead.
You can't appreciate it at that point.
No.
Oh man.
So from there, and I'm a cat person. I like cats. And the whole message is all mixed up nowadays. Cats are not an apartment on water. It's not a houseboat. Cats have to be light. There's got to be, and that's safety. And there are options. There's so many options with a cat. And so I needed to get back on a cat. But what can you do? I mean, I'd burnt all my bridges from before. I mean, started a YouTube channel, and I couldn't go back to where I was, how I was working before. So I just had to put in the hours and the long hours and unbelievable amount of hours, like 100-hour weeks, easy.
This is when you didn't have a boat.
This is when I didn't have a boat. I was still recovering, so I wouldn't say I was putting in 100 hours then. I was just like a mess. And it was just about me trying to get more than 2.25 hours sleep because I worked out 2.25 hours is all my body needs to still function. The trouble is the brain is still not functioning because I was in panic mode for 3 to 6 months. And so I needed to try and exhaust my body, which would force my mind to say, hey, he needs to get some sleep. And then I could start working out how to get back.
Yeah.
And so we were lucky. I got my friend lent me some money to buy the monohull, and at least I was out on the water again. And the slow journey of healing.
So you got what kind of monohull do you have now?
Just it's called a Lahiti Bourgeois. There was only 6 made. It's a crazy Frenchman that built them in Australia, and it's quite a light boat. It's very good in light airs. It's I wouldn't say it's just a functional boat.
It's a plastic boat.
It is.
It's 40
with foam. It's got an aluminium frame in it. Sorry, aluminum.
Oh shit!
For our American viewers. So basically, he was trying to make a cheap boat, so he actually made a frame out of aluminum, and then he laid up glass, and then he filled the void with foam. And then he laid glass, and then he sanded that back, and then he laid glass over it.
Oh, it's almost like how the ferrocement boats are made, where they take like chicken wire and then put
and then possibly a little bit,
Kind of like that.
yeah. But that sort of added to its own problems when I got hit by lightning, because then it actually created some monstrous
Faraday cage.
Well, a Faraday cage is something of protection.
Yeah, but your boat was now the cage.
Yeah, but it's the way I figured it was more like shaped like an antenna. You know, zooming all
Like
the
that-
friggin'
like that upside
quasi
down.
particles up my butt as I was filming it, by the way. But it basically caused multiple access points for a huge amount of current to go through my boat to blow 4 holes in it. And I
there
only
was 4.
4 holes I found.
No shit.
But on the night that I had to solve the problem, I found 2.
Wow.
Yeah. And the other 2, the other one of them I found 6 months later or something, and the other one I found more than a year and a half later.
I mean, as long as the pump's keeping up, right?
Yeah.
Kudos to you for getting that on film. That's amazing. I don't know anybody else that's gotten a lightning strike on a sailboat on film.
Well, that was pretty amazing. I got it twice too.
Did you?
Yeah, well, I was doing the selfie, and I had the GoPro aimed, and if you look carefully, and people said
I'll put that in here right now so people can see it.
Some people said I put fireworks and I faked it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You can see as the selfie, you can see the GoPro gets knocked back with the percussion of the bang, which then aligns the camera to shoot the top of the mast getting obliterated.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So it was a bit of God helping me with the adjustment of the camera angle as it fell over to get, because there was about 5 or 6 pulses. I think I missed 2 as it was falling over, or as it got shot over, and then it filmed the last 4.
Oh, so you've actually been hit by lightning like 8 or 9 times, if you count all the pulses.
Well, and also you're talking about you're saying it's Faraday cage. It's more like a Faraday antenna amplifying it up into my general direction. I don't know. I'm just kidding people, but I don't think it was good. It blew my drone.
Oh, no. Was it plugged in?
No, it was just sitting in its thing, but it blew the transmitter. So it did have some EMP or whatever it is and it might have been the amplification because it's shaped like that it all went into the focus.
It's 1,000,000 volts, my friend. I mean, it's gonna jump to wherever it can.
Yeah. Well, it did its best.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I've been hit by lightning too.
Oh yeah, of course. In Cartagena.
South of Cartagena in an island called Isla Grande.
Okay.
And it obviously melted all the wires, but that Shakespeare antenna that everybody has on the top of their mast, that 4-foot thing, it was in the cup, like curled up. It was so much heat that it just melted into there.
Well, mine's non-existent.
Pretty cool.
Actually, most of the stuff up there just
blew off.
Flew off and blew.
Wow.
But I think it was mostly all the particles what did you call it? The Shakespeare
antenna, yeah.
That got completely vaporized. Couldn't find any of that.
Sure.
But it came down, and whilst I was still doing the selfie, you could see all the sparks coming down.
Raining down.
So that got literally vaporized.
That's cool.
And then it landed on my back, what'd you call it? Bimini sort of thing. And it started rusting through it.
Shit.
And people think it's mold. Well, I just can't get it out because there's a rust stain. Yeah. Because I still got it.
That's why you got to be really careful when you cut metal in the top of your cockpit, because
Absolutely.
all those little metal shavings will end up little tiny rust pieces in your boat. So whenever you're cutting like bolts and stuff, do it off the boat.
Yeah, or preferably someone else's boat.
Or preferably on the land so it doesn't go in the water.
Definitely.
So look, we're at you got very bad luck with boats, my friend.
Usually wherever I go, there's hardly any boats. I'm in a place where there are some boats because I actually need internet because I'm doing Zoom calls with the designers. But I'm going ahead with myself. But usually I go to places where there's no accurate charts, there's no one, and it's out there. And if you do that, there's no help. You have to be self-sufficient. And I don't think I would ever flick the EPIRB. I didn't even flick the EPIRB when I was...
Yeah, neither did I.
Yeah, when I got hit by lightning, the boat was sinking. I didn't flick it. Didn't even think about it. This is my shit.
Yeah.
I put myself here. I'm in the middle of nowhere. Why should someone else come in the middle of the night, risk their life? Mind you, when the cruise ship went past, I went, well, he's already here. There's not much of a risk, and it's calm water. Yeah, well, I didn't do
I'll
the
take the
EPIRB. I
ride.
just sent a couple of flares up.
Really? Is that what happened?
That was okay.
And they stopped and sent a boat out to you.
That was acceptable.
I thought you got him on the radio.
Then eventually we got radio.
Wow.
But he's got charts. He's been doing it the whole time.
Solas flares then?
I don't know what
parachute ones?
parachute ones. Yeah. And so that would be how I would get help. I wouldn't get, because it's in the middle of nowhere. I mean, far out. I wouldn't do that. So,
I love that answer because I did the same thing when my boat ripped in half. I didn't pop the EPIRB. I didn't even think about calling anyone. I was like, okay, we're 100 miles offshore. We need to fix this, or we're gonna die.
But that's not the mentality now. That's not what we're taught.
Yeah.
We're taught that we're entitled to have people help us, and that's wrong. You got to you have to earn the right to be entitled.
Yeah.
And to earn the right is to do everything possible in your power, even to the point where it's becoming silly and you're endangering yourself, because you don't endanger someone else's life over you putting yourself out there in the first place.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. And people don't do that anymore. People think, oh, I'll just do what I like, and if something goes wrong, I'll just flick the switch. No, that's the wrong way
Get
of
off the
looking at it.
boat. I've heard a lot of stories about people that have abandoned their boats where it was just not required.
Yeah, why would you want to abandon your boat when it's got
As long as
your
it's still
water?
floating.
Yeah, and it's got water, and it's got food, it's got a
They
can
say
opener.
step up into the life raft.
Yeah.
And they've actually found a lot of boats still floating with the life raft and all the people gone.
Yeah, Fastnet
Where
race. So
had
Fastnet
they
79.
just stayed on the fucking boat, they would have survived, but they actually died.
Look up the Fastnet race of 79.
Yeah.
Most of the boats abandoned were found.
Yeah.
They had a bit of water in them. So they did better, or they did whatever they did, lay a hull.
That's
right,
actually
which is probably the worst thing you could do, because it's really saying to the weather, I'm out of ideas. You just take me wherever. I mean, I would always be doing something.
No. Check this out. I talked to a guy that went through a hurricane on a 80-foot schooner, and he was saying that no matter what we did, it was really pounding it. And I was like, this thing's gonna snap a plank. So he basically like laying a hull is the last thing.
The last resort.
last thing, and this is why. He said as soon as we laid a hull, we'd go to the bottom of the wave, the boat would be upright, and then as we started coming up, the wind would hit our masts and start pushing it over. And by the time we got to the top, the boat would almost be at 90 degrees, and the wave would break on the hull and just send all the water right over the boat. And it was the most comfortable thing. Yes, they had to stand on the walls when they were inside the boat, but it actually was way more comfortable than anything they had tried in the previous 2 hours, and they survived the hurricane that way. So
Yeah, well,
after hearing that story,
See, that's pretty amazing that every 10 seconds or 12 seconds or every 14 seconds, the boat's going from 0 to 90.
yeah, but-
0 to 90. That's not comfortable to me. Yes, it might have had the benefit that the wave did crash along the hull and then throw itself over. But a proper boat should have plenty of drain holes, and if it hits the boat on the side, well, most of it is going to go
Well, you're
up.
talking about pressure on the windows and stuff. I got to disagree with you there. I think he was right that the hull is the strongest part, and if the wave's going to crash, all that energy is just going to dissipate on the hull and then come over the boat.
I can see that, but well, we agree to disagree.
All right.
I would always have. You see, laying a hull to me is just too much. Take me now. I can't do anything else.
I get what you're saying there.
Just keep on doing.
I totally get
Just
what you're
keep on
saying.
working.
Yeah.
And that's why. Well, I know we'll get into that. I'm getting ahead of myself. But,
Okay, let's go back to your story. I'm sorry, I didn't
No,
really
that's
start an
right.
argument there.
This is a podcast. It's what goes on, isn't it?
Yeah.
So then, feeling still very bad, got the boat, and Lisa was on the water. Now, poor Margarita had to go through all of this, and she did a way better run than what happened. And so I don't know how she put up with it and put up with me, because it was a mess. But all I did was, okay, I've got a situation here where I've burnt all the bridges. I have to proceed on this course, and I just worked as hard as I could with the money that we had, which we didn't have any because I was in debt by $21,000,
What'd you pay for the boat?
bit over 21.
And then what'd you put into it? Because you did the rigging, right?
But I was starting to get more money then from patrons and stuff like that, so I could, get a bit more gear.
Yeah.
But it's just been a struggle just to try and succeed. And I'm still not there after 6 years. After, when you think, I mean, we've had some interesting things happen to us, which are real, and they're not made up. And we still don't get, we still only get 17 views, you know.
Well,
but, you know, you just have to keep at it. And we're finally, I think we're finally just getting there with this new deal, with this new thing happening. I think I'm finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I never saw the light at the end of the tunnel for up until, say, 3 months ago.
And how many years have you been doing this?
6 years.
Wow. You've got tenacity, or you're stupid.
Yeah, no, I think it's. I think stupidity is high on the list. It's not the Wisdom Channel, people. Stupidity's there, but when I don't know if this is Australian or it's maybe it is, but it's if things are not ideal and it's bad, you try and, well, normally Australians try and make a joke, but I don't think I was making any jokes when the cat went down. I don't think.
Yeah, you did. I remember you saying,
Well,
there's
that's
a hole in the boat. Oh, well, we know there's a hole in the boat.
That was unintentional.
was
That was not
freaking hilarious, dude.
me. Anyway, okay, well, that happened. Well, I did win the Lightning anyway, but I don't know. What was my point? What was I talking about?
Okay, well, listen, look, we're at the point where you got hit by lightning. Is that before or after COVID? Because I remember you were out for like 90 days or something, and no one would let you in, and you got caught out to sea when COVID hit, and no one would let you in the country.
Well,
right?
we got kicked out of Cuba, so it was even worse because I was expecting we'd run through most of our diesel, most of our water, because in southern Cuba there's nothing. Like there's nothing. Like literally, you can't get.
It's beautiful
fuel.
though, man. That's one of my favorite.
Southern
spots
Cuba.
ever.
I've got to go there again anyway. So we were expecting for a 2-day sail at most, day and a half to get to Jamaica, right? And we were taking our time down the Gardenias de la Reina, the Gardens of the Queen, where you're not allowed to go sailing anymore because the Cuban authorities have sold the rights to fly fishermen, and they don't want cheap-ass monohulls or anyone to visit the area when you're paying $2 a day or $1 a day when these people are flying in from Canada and Germany and France paying $2,000 a day. So they want to get the riffraff out. Well, with COVID, I went, I'm going to be sneaky. There's no one going to be visiting here. Everything's closed. I'm going to be one of the few boats that's going to get to
like
see.
They're not going to know.
Well, because there's nothing there.
Yeah,
we didn't
but
see
they
any
know.
authorities.
They know.
No, they don't. They have
they
no
do.
idea. On the southern side, they have no idea. They've got their vessel is an probably ferry from the 60s or 70s, and they call it a warship, and that's who found us. And it was probably because the country said the people that be, the higher powers, said, okay, we need to clear everyone out, so you need to run up this whole coast and kick out all the boats. And we were just in that wrong spot. If I had anchored at a previous spot, they might have not seen us. But then they kicked us out. And then so we had...
Were they nice about it, or were they...
No, they were really agitated. They didn't even want me to get my dinghy up in the davits in the motor office.
They wanted you out.
And he chased Margarita off. So I was doing all of this. We didn't even have time to film. And he was yelling at us, get out, get out, get out.
Wow.
It was, and Margarita's running. I'm saying, slow down. Pretend you're, I don't know, got a sore foot or something. Because you can't go to sea with a dinghy with a motor on it. That's just a huge pendulum. I needed to get all of this off. And as we were motoring out, and it was a glorious day. We went out, we were sailing at 2.5 knots. That was a good speed. And then it dropped to like 1.5 knots. We had very little diesel left because we were expecting to sail to Jamaica. We'll just pick up some more. I mean, who knows, the whole planet is going to close down and you're not going to have access to this. And so then we get close to Jamaica. I get on the radio. They said, under no circumstances are you to come anywhere near this country.
Oh, no.
So I went,
and how much water did you have at this point?
less than 100 litres.
Jesus, dude.
But we're good with water, right? We usually around, because we do actually have a quick rinse. It's like 4 seconds just to get the salt off us after. We're under, normally, if we're being relaxed, under 5 litres per person per day. But when we were tight, we went down to 2.25.
Per person per day.
Per person per day.
So basically that's half a gallon, like a little more than half a gallon a day.
Yeah.
Just to give you guys a reference,
Yeah,
because
that's
I know
right.
a lot of this audience
Which is
doesn't
this
work
much
in liters.
water. That much water.
Wow.
That was it.
Did you stink?
Well, we didn't have much to eat to stink anyway.
Yeah.
I think a lot of your stink comes from your food. But then we went to try to sail to Dominican Republic, and that's only 300 or 400 miles. But there was no wind. And it took us almost 2 weeks to sail that distance. Here we are eking out in 2.25 litres. Couldn't turn the diesel on because we had no fuel. I think we had 2.5 hours to run the motor. It was like this much in the bottom, of the bottom of the tank. And and there was no wind. We had wind. I mean, I was chasing clouds trying to get 1 knot. And I'd build up my apparent wind speed of say 2 knots, which would take half an hour or something. And then there'd be one wave would come and knock it down, and then we'd be dead in the water again because I lost all my apparent and I couldn't get on the current wind to get it going again. It was crazy. And then we're having this pendulum motion because we had this residual swell coming through. And so sometimes it'd go 30 degrees either side, not all the time. And so you have to be in a beanbag because it's the only thing that cushions you, and you're lying, across the ship.
Was Margarita sick?
She actually handled it quite well, but I think she was so long at it, and there was not much to eat, that there was nothing. But I don't remember her being bad at all at that time.
What was your temperaments like during this time? Were you?
I think
sad,
I was too
frustrated?
cheerful.
Cheerful.
This is what I'm made for. I like things that are problematic. I like to go, oh, I'm buggered. I got to get myself out of this. I like that. I don't know. It's a challenge, and I don't know. God blessed me with this new challenge, and here I go. And I think it would have been better if I was more realistic and not so cheerful, because it didn't help the relationship at all. Because I was just, loving it. This was a problem.
And she wasn't.
And no, she was worried about her family with COVID because Spain was really affected and Portugal was quite close. And we only had a little bit of reception with the Garmin. We'd only get a little drips and drops of pieces of information. So she had all of that anxiety. And, having someone that's cheerful, that's always looking positive at a rather dire situation, we've got no water and no fuel and we don't know what's going to happen to the next country, I think it might be too much for an ordinary person to bear. Waking up, go, gee, what's the problem that's going to happen today? And then, because there was no wind, we started drifting towards Haiti, really close. We were within 15 miles, and I could even see, not so much I could see some landmarks. And I'm thinking, because I know Haiti's not it's quite a disorganised country. I'm thinking it's not going to take them long to get a speedboat out, rob us, and just go back.
Of what?
Well, I had a radio, and it's a sailboat. These guys are poor, right? Yeah. They're living on less than $1 a day. If you see a sailboat, well, that's even a poor sailboat.
And then you're
solar panels,
in the same exact conditions, except now you're living on 1/4 liter of water a day in a rowboat.
Yes, yeah, perhaps, or just murdered, or sold into slavery or something. I don't know. So that was one, and I couldn't even motor out. I could only just work on diurnal patterns that I was noticing and try and use what I could, because we'd get the southeast to northeast fluctuations, then we get the land breeze, and I was just using every ounce of my power, this is what I liked, to try and get off the shore, to meet the south to get north, and then when it came later with the nor'easter, then use that north to get more east. So when I say south to get north, I mean south to get northeast. So I'm getting some east, and then when it goes later in the afternoon with the nor'east, then use the north to get south, but to get more east. And I was just using this technique because there's a 90 degrees fluctuation, and you can get very broad tacks. But you have to be switched on. You have to look at all the clouds, because each cloud can change things as well, and that could stuff up your whole thing. So it was a challenge. And then we get into Dominican Republic, and I thought I snuck in because I saw there was a town, and I hugged the coast down south. But I had all the sails up because I finally had wind, and I wanted to get in that day. And we got in, and then we got kicked out the next morning.
Did you get water?
Yeah, well, he wanted us to go on right away. And Margaret said, no, we can't. We got no water and we got no fuel. So we gave him $72 or something. That was the remaining amount of money we had. And he brought us some water and some fuel, but like 60 litres of fuel, which, was all of our money. And we couldn't get more. And maybe 80 or 100 litres of water.
Oh, man.
And then I went, all right, what am I going to do? And then I tried to go around Cape Beata, and we got hit by nastily nor'easters. He said, under no circumstances are you allowed to come within 6 miles of Dominican Republic. So I was going to go around Cape Beata and then try and then heave to in one of the bays up, outside the 6 miles and get some rest, right? Because Dominican Republic's quite a long country and you're heading into wind. And so that would require a lot of stamina. So I needed to find places to heave to rest, and I wanted to make it comfortable for Margarita. Well, we couldn't even get past it because the wind went more north. As we got there, the waves were on, the autopilot was screaming, and I'm going, shit, is this something happens to this autopilot?
You're very screwed.
I'm going to be bad, yeah. So we went back round, then I tried to get into Haiti. And I snuck into Haiti. I waited out the front of Haiti for 5 hours. And because I wanted to sneak in so no one would see us, get in right on sunset. And I did it all, timed it all perfectly, got through all the shoals and all the reef. We snuck in and it was all good. We thought, oh, this is great. We're going to at least get a good night's sleep. It's all going to be fun. Mind you, we did get one good night's sleep at Dominican Republic, though. And this is, 2 or 3 days later. And but no, 11 o'clock, and they were petrified of us.
Oh, really?
The Coast Guard, the police or whoever it was, we couldn't even see them. They had this massive spotlight, and they were so angry. Get out of this country, you! Well, in French. And then some guy had to translate it. There was another boat there. It was been there since COVID. And he tried to translate, but we had to go then. He said, you have to go now. So he forced us to sail out, because I couldn't use diesel. Well, I had to use a little bit of diesel just to get out of the bay. And I sailed through all the reef and shoals.
Holy shit.
I had to.
At night.
Yeah, because, they were super angry.
Yeah.
And what do you do? Anyway, so, and then I'm still cheerful. I was even laughing. I did a selfie. I even remember going, this is kind of funny, really. Because there was no place to go.
Buddy.
And so I got out all the maps and I went, okay, where are some islands? Where is a reef where I can hide behind? And I found some just southeast of Jamaica. And so we stayed there for, 2 or 3 weeks. But then some fishermen turned up and Margarita started feeling uncomfortable. We're going to get caught anyway.
You were on anchor.
Yeah. There's a bunch of islands that creates a little nice...
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Morin
yeah.
Case.
Yeah, cool.
Morin Case, I was there and there was no one there. And but then fishermen started turning up and then they started leaving. So it's only a matter of time someone's going to blab. And they were illegally doing it anyway because they're poor and they were going to collect bird eggs and fish because there's no fishing in Jamaica.
No.
There's
they
nothing
ate all
there.
their fish.
Yeah, and so they got to feed their families, and I think the Coast Guard is just sort of turning a blind eye. But there's only, a matter of time we're going to get kicked out anyway. So I thought, well, if we're going to get kicked out, we'll get kicked out when it's better to choose the time we're going to get kicked out. So I left. I got a few days worth of food.
In the manner of fish?
Yeah,
spear fishing?
Yeah, that's right. Because I think we went through our last can there. We had a can of beans, which were really quite disgusting, but, they tasted quite good after that period of time.
I can envision you guys, sharing this can with 2 little spoons.
Oh, no,
and being
mate.
like, oh, babe, isn't this fucking wonderful?
No. Margarita made we were on this tiny little coral island because I didn't visit the fishing island because I didn't want to compromise them. Because if they got COVID, if they got exposed to someone and then they went back, they would have to be quarantined themselves and then wouldn't be able to go fish again. So I wanted to keep separate from them. I couldn't get any water from them because they had to bring all their water out with them. They only bring the minimum.
I was going to ask, were you catching water at this point or
no,
what? What were
there
you
was
doing
no
for water?
rain. There was rain once, and I think I could have collected maybe a litre. But there was no... This is the dry... This is just before the wet.
So you're still living on the 100 liters that you got from the guy in Dominican
plus
before he
the
kicked you out.
remaining 40 or 30 litres we had. So that was that. But we can go a long time with that. So I got the food up and then I got out the charts again. I'm going, oh, look, there's a reef here, middle of nowhere. It's 278 nautical miles from the coast of Nicaragua. Who's going to be there? And sure enough, we go there, and certainly not a calm anchorage. It was very rolly. See the size of this room? That's the size of the island.
Oh, wow.
You can spit across it.
Wow.
Right? And but my big mistake, though, and I didn't think about it, and you have to be thinking always. You got to be thinking about everything. And sometimes I'm a bit. I just naturally assumed that the next place I'd go to would have firewood. There was plenty of firewood on Moore and Case. I could have loaded up the deck, and I would have. But then I get to what island this big is going to have any amount of firewood?
And you needed that to cook.
Yeah, but there was some illegal fishermen from Jamaica that had left a what do you call it? A pallet.
Pallet.
But that's really light wood. It wasn't going to last long. So I smashed that up, put that on the boat just in case it blew away overnight, because that's my luck. But there was sargassum dried, and I'd put a little bit of diesel on it, all right? And it was good. It burnt. And so we did that, and I used a little bit of that wood, because then I started getting paranoid. Well, if we keep on getting chased out by, pirates or illegal fishermen or Coast Guard, I need to keep all the wood I can get. And so we cooked, and we stayed there for 2 or 3 weeks. And, boy, I was eating. There's hardly any fish there. It's all been raided. I think the illegal fishermen come from all parts, and they just hit it hard. But what they don't know is there's big crab. And so I was eating crab and what do you call those, slipper lobsters?
Yeah.
And crayfish. And I'm not a fan of crayfish, but I was getting humongous crab.
Oh, that's why you hate lobster now.
No. I hated lobster from before, when I had too many from before. But that's another story. So we had plenty of food to eat, right? There wasn't much variety. It was just boiled or whatever. And I did one nice meal and to try and cheer Margarita up, because it's hard. So this is maybe a month and a half now in, or 2 months, or no, a month and a half. And so I made battered fish, because we had a little bit of oil left, and we had some flour. And I thought, maybe, and I cut up the fish, and it was triggerfish. So it was sort of like chicken. And I thought, this will battered fish. All girls love battered fish, right? And the first thing she tries, and she goes, "It's a bit tough." That was all I got from her. But, I tried.
Yeah, it's the thought that counts, my friend.
And so then we were there, and then the Colombian Coast Guard turned up.
Oh, shit.
And he had to kick us off. But he did give us water and fuel, and we had no money left. And so it was all, as the rule of the sea, you're in trouble.
Wow.
Which no other country felt that they were obligated by. So it was only the Colombians, and may I say, Cubans and Colombians are the nicest people on earth. They're just wonderful. They're poor and give you the shirt off their back. And so he gave us fruit. My goodness, he gave us a pineapple. He gave us a pear. Margarita got stuck into that. And it was the first time she had a smile in like 2 months.
Oh.
And the female officer that came on board gave her like little snacks, like little cookies, and gave her a brownie, and that brownie just made her burst into tears, because we had no sweet left and nothing. It was just bland. I mean, I think we had still salt, because you can always have salt. But we had to go. So then I sort of had to break the rule a bit, because all of these islands and reefs are owned by Colombia.
Yeah.
And so he said, "You got to go." I'm not really allowed to go back in. So I was hiding out on tiny other little reefs in amongst it, that area. And this is all off Nicaragua, like 200 nautical miles, 270 nautical miles off Nicaragua. And just to wait until we got, because we had an official, Tampa Dad, he was our official in America that was ringing up all the places that we could go to. But he was very good with official stuff. But we needed to work out where we could get unofficially, where they let us in. So we couldn't go to East Caribbean. That's the only thing that was opening up. And then Panama was all officially closed, so we couldn't. And you don't sail to Panama, which is the arsehole end of the Caribbean. You can't get out. When I say arsehole end, I mean that from a wind perspective. You're at your end. Everything is windward. And you don't go there, and then they kick you out and they say, "You got to leave in 24 hours,"
that
because there's nowhere for me to go, right? So waiting, and then we heard from HF, because I had HF, and I was monitoring, and I was saying, does anyone know if anything's opening? And but no one was that helpful. Everyone's saying, I believe you can do this.
Yeah.
No, I want to know. Can you please find out? No, never got there. So we were waiting, and then we heard two Spanish or Italian boats, Spanish boats, unofficially got in to Bocas. So right, bang.
Bocas.
Right. If it was up to me, I would have been out there for another 60 days. But Margarita was at her end of her tether. We heard this news, and really, we went through all the food of the Colombians. Mind you, I didn't need help, but it was nice to have a pineapple and a pear and have Margarita smile for that 3 minutes. But and so I sailed in, we got in, and they said, yeah, you can stay. And then they promptly kicked the two Spanish boats out.
Oh, really?
But they didn't kick us out.
When? Why was that? Did you ever
I don't
get
know.
that?
Don't know. Maybe they were breaking the rule going on shore. But we abided by the quarantine, and I ordered 16 pineapple.
Oh, so they would bring you food?
Yes.
Oh, great.
And like
water.
literally, I was just fruiting up.
But you couldn't go on shore, so you're still stuck on the boat.
Yeah.
Now you had good
for the
food.
quarantine. Well, yeah. And then the yachties there were saying, hey, we can get your stuff for cheap, because they were charging you an arm and a leg to do the service, whereas the yachties would just leave it on the boat. I didn't care. Bugger it. Pineapples, papaya, passion fruit, doesn't matter. Bring it all. And so we were good. We were fine.
And how's Margarita's headspace right now? Is she like wanting to get off the boat?
No, she's happy. She's only two times she was happy. It was the brownie. That was almost 2 months in. And then 11 days later, 71 days after our ordeal began, we got allowed to come in when we radioed.
And then you guys were sitting pretty fat and happy.
And then it was all good. And then she could have cheese and bacon and eggs.
And you guys rode out the rest of the pandemic that way?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, it was, yeah. But I think the damage was done. Being on a boat is a bit hard, people, especially at that period of time. So we really, as I said, Margarita really got the bad end of the stick with everything. Me emotionally, the boat, no money, no boat, the pandemic. I mean, then I had the lightning, and then the boat, and then we're always struggling for money. I mean, people may not know this, but before Cuba, that was our last thing. I was just going to ride the credit card up, and then that was it. Sell the boat, pay the credit card off, and then have to go back to work. But what saved us was the Exile series.
Everybody loved that.
The 9-part series. We were 4.5 million hits.
Wow.
And we got 30,000 new subscribers. And we got
Whoa.
patrons, and some. We actually now had some money to actually start to maybe, after 6 months, you could buy some gear. I mean, we wouldn't say we had money, but we with careful planning, you could, buy a new furler or buy this or something like this.
And your boat was in desperate need of maintenance.
Oh, yeah, everything. But then I lost the furler, and then we couldn't afford that because I had to buy a new chain, and then we had problems with that. And, it's been a journey.
Yeah,
really,
sounds like it.
Really has
okay,
been.
so take us from this point to where you're at now, and then tell us your future plans.
All right, so I'll try and be as brief as possible. Probably run out of batteries.
No, we have plenty of batteries. Don't worry.
Well, do you need to hear about the lightning? I don't know.
Oh, we just did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, basically I get hit by lightning.
No, you captured on film, and it was pretty epic, and it blew a hole in your bottom of your boat. Actually, take us through that night real quick, because that's a pretty amazing part of this story if you guys don't know this. And it's just crazy, because I remember seeing it on camera, and then there was a shark behind you, and you're like shoving plastic bags in this hole in the bottom of your boat.
Yeah, pretty much. So it blew, the way I figured it blew through the aluminum, and it got close to the stern tube, and the aluminium was either attached to that, and then when it got close to the water, it vaporized the water, I guess, and shocked and blew out a chunk of the boat, and there was a hole about that big, right? That was, I thought, what the hole was, right? It's a friggin' mind It was difficult at night because you jump in the water. I mean, for starters, there's all this water coming in, and I'm thinking, and I've made mistakes. I've gone through. I've done an episode of what I should have done. But the most important thing, you got to take this anyway. With any situation, you have to just start acting. I mean, it's good if you're thinking and you get it right, but the trouble is people freeze, and they don't do anything. It doesn't matter, even if you do the wrong thing. If you start acting, number one, you get the juices happening and things are happening and I'm on the bilge pump and you start thinking and you start realizing, oh, what I'm doing now is actually not the right thing to do. I should be doing this, but you're acting. And that's the thing that starts you to get over this massive hump because you're scared. And you need to do that. So you just do anything. It'd be good to choose the more you get on the right side of the equation, but sometimes you don't. Anyway, so I saw all this water coming in and I was bilging, and I thought, I got these salt water pump. So I quickly, pumping all this water out just to buy me some time because there's a hole in the boat. I still haven't gone in the water. I'm thinking, let's control the flow. And so I removed all the pipes and started draining it that way, and that bought me a bit of time. I shouldn't have done that. I should have just gone straight in. Well, when I went in, I found the hole was pretty obvious. It was just this big hole.
Could you see light coming through?
No. It was a flap. The flap of fiberglass had fallen down. If it hadn't fallen down, it would have been harder to see, I guess. But I had the torch in my hand, and I had a GoPro light, which I had used before, and if I had it still on the camera, I mean, I had the camera on, automatically it's always on my mask, but if I had the GoPro light still, it would have been so much easier because when I was using this special sticky tape, I'm holding the light with my hand and I'm trying to manipulate it and it's sticking to itself and it's just no good. Yeah. Anyway, I bogged up the holes and some sharks are around, but they were around not to eat me. It's just interesting because I'm flashing the light and they probably see my hand and they might think it's a struggling fish and they hang around boats anyway. But I mean, bilge pumping for 2 hours now, that's a lot of noise in a quiet anchorage. Yeah. So they just come around, they're having a look. Uh-huh. And so, occasionally I'd see a shark. And I'm like, there's a shark. Well, what can I do? Yeah. Well, I just got to do the job. And I was do that. But the thing is, I've plugged up the hole and I'm going, oh, this is great. It's solved.
I win.
Yeah, it's great. And I'm getting out of the boat and I'm feeling quite chuffed. I'm going,
I'm the man.
Yeah, this is good. And I get in and I thought I'd just check. And I lift up the engine hatch again and the water's still pouring in exactly the amount it was from before. I plugged the hole. This is God having fun. This is what God and me are mates, people. There's no doubt about it. But he likes to give me the runaround. He likes to go, okay, let's see what Pluggy does in this situation. Come on, let's lull him into the false thought that that's the hole, because it's a hole. It wasn't there before. I mean, what's the chances there's another hole, right?
Turns out there was 4.
Yeah, there were. So I jumped in again and I'm swimming around the boat. There's no other hole.
Can't find a hole.
And I'm going, I'm just, this is a puzzle. And I'm pulling my hair. What can you do? And then I've got problems with the batteries. They're running low. The motor starts, but the alternator's fried. I can't charge the batteries. The pumps are going to get lower and lower and lower in power. I'm going to lose that, and then I'm going to have to, drive the boat up on the beach or reef it.
So this is the point where the jokes stop with Plucky.
Yes, perhaps. I can't remember. It's still a blur.
You're freaking out.
It was 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning, and I did a few jokes when everything was calm. When I got all the pipes connected, and I was, the water level was going down. I'd pick up a camera. People said, oh, you're amazing. You filmed the whole thing. I didn't actually, because it's a panic situation. No person that films everything, it's not a panic situation. No. It must be made up, right? It has to be, because you don't think about picking up the camera. But when I was safe, when I had all the pipes draining, I had 3 bilge pumps working in effect, well, I'll pick up the camera. Look, I was feeling good about myself.
And that was, the 3 bilge pumps were not actually bilge pumps. You had taken off your
2 sink pumps.
Sink pump.
The saltwater pump, the freshwater pump, and the actual bilge pump working simultaneously, and it was going down. And then I went, oh, this is good. At least I've stabilised it. So I quickly picked it up and I went, look, there's a river in my boat. I could go fishing. I mean, I could.
So the jokes never stop.
Yeah, and then, then I checked the battery, then I checked the motor, and the alternator was fried. So the batteries are going to get worse and worse and worse. Yeah, so I had to go back in to find the hole, because then it was panic stations again, because I knew I was only going to have another hour, maybe less, with the bilge pump continually draining the battery, and but I couldn't find where the hole was. But then just by, just going through everything, it actually blew the, what do you call it, the PSS shaft seal.
Oh, that's what happened.
Yeah, it must have, all the current went through and it just must have expanded the gases and it just blew out the arse of it.
Oh, no.
And it blew out the arse of it too. It could have blown any part. And if it was at the top, I would have heard the noise. But it had to blow the bottom because then it sat in its own little bilge, its own little pool, and didn't make any noise. It just had to do it like that, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, you figured it out.
But then I found it. And then I wrapped it up with this sticky tape, which is the only good thing. It was, I used butyl tape and I skewed some, what do you call them, ring clamps? Or what do you call them? Hose clamps. I had some big ones. And it finally stopped. And it was like, 2.5, 3 hours of just a continual Sudoku of my mind trying to work out what to do and how to solve the problem, even though the problem wasn't the problem I thought was in the first place. I didn't have to go in and shove the bags in the hole.
Nicely done. Yeah, well, that's what you're just talking about. You have to take action.
You have to take action, and immediately. And I think the longer people get frozen, the more apathetic they become. And bilge pumping, and immediately the brain's switching on. The blood is flowing, and you're going, and you start thinking, I don't want to be doing this for 4 hours. I want to stop this. And you have to act.
I always keep at least 2 or 3 of these things, but basically it's an epoxy stick, and it's got 2 parts in it. Like it's the outer part and the inner is the catalyzer. I'm sorry, the outer part is the epoxy, and the inner part is the catalyzer. So when you smash it all up, it turns into like a blob of basically silly putty, or more like clay, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, but a good stiff clay. It's good to, and it sort of can stick.
It sets underwater, and it sets in like 10 minutes. So you can sit there and hold it around. What happened to me was I hit a rock, and one of my through holes were pushed up into the boat. So it was a shitload of water coming. It wasn't quite a hole yet, but I just pushed the through hole back down and put a whole stick of this in, and it stopped enough of the water where the bilge pump could, keep up while I had to sail it 400 miles to get home. So speaking of that, what happened now? So now your boat's like patched together.
Yeah, we found the 4th hole, 2 months ago? And then I think about 2 or 3 months ago started doing a series on catamarans about how, basically there's some ratios you should look at and what catamarans need to be. The market's been ambushed by these houseboats, floating houseboats that are way too heavy, and you're losing your options as a catamaran. It's just a houseboat. And the only option really you have with some of these boats is to go downwind. And that's not an option, really. That's just one option, right? And sometimes it's not an option. You're going to reef, you got to land, whatever. You can't do it. Yeah. So people are losing sight of the benefits of a cat. And the benefits of a cat are they're light and they're fast. And you can get out of bad situations because they're light and they're fast. But as soon as you take that away from them, well, yeah, they're a good platform to have parties on and stuff, but you're not going to be enjoying the party from 2 weeks previously when you're in a bad storm and you're heading for reef, and no one's going to be happy. And if you're a husband trying to coax their wife into living on the sea, after she goes through that experience, she's never going to want to be on that boat again. So it's sort of, it doesn't serve the cause having these monstrous, luxurious, opulent boats. It's actually very bad.
This will be the next podcast that we do together, is what sail area displacement is, what all these numbers mean, and then how they're different, and how you can use them to choose a catamaran.
Weight, waterline length, displacement to waterline length, and these are all things you don't even have to calculate, because if you looked at the formulas, they're quite large and nasty to the power of 2/3 and stuff. You don't have to, because there's some sites that you can download the PDF of all the boats that you're looking to buy, and then you can just compare them. So you don't have to do any maths. You just have to look at the numbers.
And they'll give you a pretty good overview of how comfortable, how safe, and how easy it is to sail that boat. It's a really good comparison that not a lot of people do because they don't know how.
Yeah. But it's very, very easy. Anyway, so I did this thing criticising these cats and said very foolishly, people were saying I'm a fool, I chose the Mumby design. And they're going, but why did you choose the Mumby design? No one's going to build you a cat. You're not going to get a free cat out of it. I mean, you have to build it yourself. And I said, I'm not dishonest. I'm going to be going to the best, safest, cheapest catamaran you can get out there. And that was the Mumby design. I just have to build it myself. I wasn't looking for, another manufacturer to try and get me on board to sell their boat for them. I just chose that. Well, there was some people watching this show, and they got together with some naval architects and structural engineers, and they went, well, Plucky's got some ideas. We've got some ideas. Let's build the best boat we can get. And so we've been...
Oh, so you're like part of the initial design team for this whole boat.
Yeah.
It's not just them saying, look, we want to build you a boat for marketing purposes. It's like they want your input.
We are designing it together. Which
That's
is
so awesome.
Which is good, because I'd be highly suspect if it was just me designing it, people. Because, well, look, I got a mechanical engineering degree. I know how things work, and I could eventually do the analysis, right? But it's so much easier if I've got a structural engineer that I can say, right, this is what I think we should do. Will it work? And he'll come back 2 days later and go, yeah. How good's that? He runs it through the system, puts it on the CAD. It's all goes, all the calculations are all positive. How good's that?
How much better of a boat is this going to be now?
Oh, it's going to be. I've started looking at all the numbers and all of the characteristics, and it is the second best boat at about a third of the price of the best boat. But when we say second best boat, that's using their published data, which I don't think is actually correct.
What would be the best boat?
The best boat is the DasCat as the fastest catamaran, production catamaran out there. But it's hard to get what their light ship weight is. So I'm using what they tell me it is. But then I rang them up, and it's actually 2 ton more. So if I put that in all the numbers, this new boat is the best boat.
Cool.
And a third of the next best boat, which is the DAS. And the ORC 50, that's behind it too. Max Crew's behind it. Everything's behind it.
Okay, so how did you get to this point? Because we're missing a crucial element here, which was your Kickstarter campaign.
Oh, yes. Thank you to all the people that watched. And so I thought, well, I've got to build a Mumby. It's a difficult, it's going to be expensive. So I was going to do it in Philippines. It's going to be probably 4 or 5 years' time, maybe 6 years to do it. So I needed a boost, because it didn't have any money. And so I put this Kickstarter thing thanks to James. James is the pioneer of the Kickstarter campaign, and he mentored me and helped me through it. So good on you, James.
I didn't do that much, actually.
Well, he did. He's very modest. And because he's a top bloke.
Top bloke.
And so I raised some money, and yeah, and then the guys saw all this action. They actually the one of the engineers and the naval architect and the UK/Australian guy, David, they were in the Kickstarter campaign as well.
Oh,
and
cool.
And it was towards the end that they contacted me. I mean, this wasn't before the Kickstarter. This was during, when I was releasing some of these cat videos saying these cats are dangerous. People are going to get in trouble. We need to start going back to the performance catamarans. And so they said, let's design a boat together. So it's not them, it's me and them. But
that's awesome.
But it's even better because there's 6 sailors over there, and there's me with some ideas, and Dave's got ideas. He's also a sailor, and there's 6 other sailors. There's a naval architect. There's a team of structural engineers. I mean, this is a highly experienced group of people. So if I say something stupid, which I think I said one thing stupid, it gets knocked on the head.
And then what's the future plan for this? It's
Built in Greece.
It's December now, so what's the timeline?
Well, we're still waiting for certification. Despite the Mumby being a proven design, we have beefed it up. There's a few suspect areas, and we've beefed it up. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit heavier. But we're still waiting on certification. When that goes through, it can start. I was hoping it would already start by now, but, it's Christmas and getting that through. So hopefully it's January start. And then I'm basically here doing the design work, being on the computer for 10 to 12 hours a day. And it's good me being Sam Blast because I can actually... Because being at the computer for like 4, 5, 6 hours, yeah, exactly. You know that movement?
You gotta get up, dude.
And so I go in and I go for a snorkel or a swim, and then that gets all the, and I can do another 5 or 6 hours. So yeah, that's where I can do it here. And also I can live for $1 a day.
Yeah,
because I can keep fish, and
Great.
it's not costing. Because I'm telling you, Kickstarter, I have all your dollars is just going into the boat, and also the rewards. But it's going into the boat, just the boat, not my airfare, not my accommodation, nothing. It's all going into the boat. I have to earn everything else around that to support me, my airfare and all of that. So it's going to be, I'm doing it properly.
You're a top bloke.
Well, I don't know about that. But that's part of the contract, really. I'm not going to go to Barbados for the Kickstarter to do a fact-finding mission.
Just a small vacation.
Yeah. So 3-day people. No, I'm not going to do that.
And your plan is to move to Greece and document this process as it's going every day kind of thing?
That's it. I've got a lawyer trying to work on getting a visa more than 3 months, who's actually, she watches.
Cool.
I've got 500 Greek excellent people that watch. And I had to look that up. And so as soon as that comes through, we'll start building and documenting. And I'm going to do a bit of building too. But it's going to be amongst professionals, proper welders.
I doubt they're going to let you touch it.
Well, we'll see. I've got a few things that I'm still tweaking, right? I've been allowed some, so we've decided on the major design concepts and the rudder, the new kick-up rudder system and all of these things. It's very exciting.
Oh, I heard that was super secret squirrel. We're not supposed to talk about this.
I mentioned it, so I shouldn't have said that. But it's good. It's better, people. It's better. And this new boat's got a lot of the Mumby DNA, so people are going to say, oh, it's a new boat. It's a bit, how do we know it's going to be good? But it's actually a slightly beefed up version.
Are you working with Mumby?
And Mumby's an advisor. He saw it and he said, right, I'm in.
Cool.
Yeah. So.
And it's his base plan?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Neat.
Well, the DNA. Lots of things have been changed, but there's still Mumby genes.
Cool.
Genetic material.
Yeah.
It's a bit like how we've evolved. I've still got a little bit of Neanderthal in me.
you got your grandfather there.
Grandfather just there watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's exciting stuff.
Yeah, cool, man.
I mean,
I'm
finally got the kick. The channel hopefully will explode. Get more people interested.
Oh, everybody loves build channels. It'll definitely get a lot more interest.
I'll be taking weekends off.
Yeah.
Maybe once a month and flying to Germany, France, Denmark, Norway. I've got all these. Just visit some of the supporters, and they'll just show me around just to dilute the dry boat build. There'll be intermixed some.
So if you're watching right now in Europe,
tourism.
Anywhere in Europe, and you'd like to house this poor soul for a weekend, he's taking applications right now.
Yeah, pretty much. I got a heap.
Yeah,
There's a guy in Thor.
I have no doubt.
He can't. He wants me there now.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Okay, cool, man. Well, that's awesome. Anything else? Any other future plans? Future plans? You're planning on?
There's the Elcano Challenge, which is electric boat. So that's going to be good. So again, this is right up my alley. It's not just going to be easy. It's going to have to think about the problems, and we can't just turn on the engine whenever. And if you know me, people will go, oh, but what happened? There's no wind. Well, we bob,
Yeah.
Yeah. Or, we might motor a little bit, but we'll be really, because you can't just, The range, even if you stack a hell of a lot of batteries, lithium batteries on your boat, your range is not going to be better than 40, 50, 60 miles, right? So you have to be really cautious. Like a diesel, you fill up the tanks. What, you got 1,200 miles? I mean, how many?
Oh,
what's
not
range?
that much. Most boats have about a 500-mile range on diesel
Okay,
alone.
well, 500 mile, that's huge, right?
Yeah. I think that's the round
So
number.
we don't have that. And so we're always having to regenerate by having, fast cruising speed. We're going to have special props. I can't tell you. We're talking to some. So basically now is also me designing, but also on the phone and writing to a lot of sponsors trying to get the best equipment on the boat. So that's taking a huge amount of time too. So we have to regenerate our power because we can't. Everything's going to be electric on board, sinks and stuff.
So wait a minute. Hold on. What is this Elcano Challenge? Because a lot of people don't know.
Oh, okay. So basically, Jimmy Cornell, he created the Elcano Challenge, which was to sail around the world in a boat with some level of amenity. And when we say some level of amenity, it's quite a good level, so people could live with it. You see, there's no point just doing it like they did it, 500 years ago, because what wife is going to be dragged along in a boat living in the dark, cooking with a paraffin wax, whatever it is, stove? It's just not going to happen. So the whole idea is to sail around without any fossil fuels, no gas for cooking, no diesel. And for engines, basically it's got to be electric motors, and you use induction cooking. And but you've got to do it at some level of amenity so people can do it. So you can have a freezer, so you can have a fridge. And so then people go, hang on, well, Plucky did it. Let's do it. I mean, you work with diesels, they're pretty dirty. And when they start going wrong, there's some problems going wrong. And electric motors are really coming of age now, aren't they? I mean, they're everywhere.
Well, I mean, I have like 13 on the boat.
Yeah.
With all the pumps and stuff.
Yeah, so it's exciting. So it's not going to be easy. We're going to have issues. I mean, for example, if we were going to do the Panama Canal, that's a thing.
That's a tough one.
It is going to be
you
a
might
tough
have to
one.
borrow some batteries on that one.
Well, I don't know. But in actual fact, the Elcano Challenge, what Jimmy created, he tried to do it in 2021. He couldn't do it. He had Ultramar on board and Ocean Volt on board, and I think they let him down because he just had a standard Ultramar, and Ocean Volt was, well, I don't know. It wasn't working as well as what they'd promised. Okay. And so we're going to do that, go around. And so the Panama Canal isn't really in the Elcano Challenge because it wasn't there 500 years ago. So
you're going around the Horn then?
Well, I'm actually thinking about it because practically speaking, hardly anyone goes around the Horn. So I ought to show that this electric boat with this amount of batteries can get through the Panama Canal. But I'm still undecided because then I'm thinking, well, am I wussing out? And I'm missing out on the Straits of Magellan.
That's what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And actually, we're taking guests. So if you'd like to sail with Zingaro, please go to this link right here.
Oh, yeah, you do it. And this boat is beautiful.
Yeah, it turned out really nice. Yeah,
yeah, you're
Thanks,
living in luxury. So
I got really lucky with this one.
Yeah, so I don't want to miss out on the Straits of Magellan.
Yeah, you'd go see it. Hell yeah. I think it'd be a great... I mean, you could always just borrow some batteries and get through the canal. It's only... I mean, you would get through everything. Actually,
60 miles.
What am I
Is it
even
60
thinking?
miles?
Yeah, it's about 60 miles, and you could just side tie to one of the boats and then have them drive.
I would like to try and do it.
Yeah, well,
Like I literally sail in.
it's illegal to sail past the breakwall in Cologne. That's the rule. So you couldn't.
Is it?
Yeah, you're not allowed to sail at all.
Well, then I'd sit at anchor for 3 or 4 days, minimising my power consumption, or just keeping an eye on the batteries, and make sure that because I'm going to have like close to 5 kilowatts of solar, so that's enough to top up the batteries.
You could do it, man.
And if we have an overnighter and we have a sunny day, I mean, it'd be good to do it on the worst day with no sun and prove that you can do it with these, with that amount of batteries and these motors. That would probably then people would say, well, let's do it.
Yeah. So any other long-term plans and goals? Are you going to do chartering on this thing? Are you going to?
I'm just Elcano-ified.
Yeah.
And get the boat built. So after that, because it's going to be a journey, and I'm not going to do it fast. I mean, I'm going to see some places, so it's going to be interesting. I mean, it's going to be a whole new blog because it's going to be interesting on passage because we're going to be watching the battery banks and managing our speed and really thinking about how to get into a place where, it's hard to, with diesels, it's an easy thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I get close. Oh, even if there's no wind, I just motor 150 mile.
Yeah.
But no, we can't do that.
I think most people are excited and about the same thing I'm excited about is how you're planning on this. So make sure you document everything and be forthcoming in everything you're planning, because that I want to nerd out with you, bro. I want to say, okay, how many amps? Okay, cool, that's going to work. Oh, you got like regen of this, and then you got to be going this speed to get this much amperage out of the propellers, and I want to just totally know.
Well,
all
I'm
that
short
stuff.
about $220,000, so we're going to have help from people that supply gear, and so I'm in the process of doing that. So I can't nerd out with you now.
No, but I'm saying for later on.
But the emails, I got 2 emails this morning, and I didn't read them last night because I'm getting a lot of rejections, right? And I didn't want to think about, why did they reject me? So I left them. But I looked at them this morning, and they're all positive.
Oh, good.
They at least want to meet the next meeting.
Congrats.
It's hard to get in.
Yeah.
But once you get in, they talk to you, and the naval architect had come on board, the structural engineer, whatever, and we talk about it, and it's a start, but it's a long process. So, so there's nothing really, nothing's concrete yet, even after 2 months.
So say the boat's beginning to be built in, say, February, March. Do you foresee this thing being a year long, 2 years, 3 years build?
April 24.
1 year build.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really fast.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then it's touring around Greece and Turkey doing trials. It'll be a trials of some sort. I think Jimmy Cornell did that too. It's hardly swell conditions, although the seas can get quite rough, I hear. But we'll just make sure the system's working, it's all safe, and we'll get some crews on. It'll be all interesting, and we'll see some nice places as well. So that will go for as long as we need to do, maybe a couple of months, 3 months or something. And then it should be, I think the season to sail is November. So this really gives us more than 6 months to do it. The Canaries, you tell me, I'm familiar, but just from my basic knowledge of the world's patterns, sailing across the Atlantic, is that November the 1st or October, November?
Yeah, I would say that'd probably be a good.
I think October might be a bit pushing it, but you could get away with it. But I think November. So start November.
I've never done that one. I've only gone across the top.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I don't know. I know it's a lot easier to do that route. Well, Bluck, I am from my heart so happy for you. And so grateful to call you my friend, and I can see you're a lot more lit up because you were in a dark place for a while, bro.
Long time, and sometimes the joke was hiding a crying man, people.
Yeah.
But you just got to put in the time, and when you're feeling sad, just do another 6 hours on the computer.
Well, you're a top bloke.
And then another 2 hours swimming just to get over that 6 hours.
Yeah, no shit. Congratulations, man. I can't wait to follow. Can't wait to see what you're doing. Yeah. I'm totally gonna. I don't usually follow any YouTube channels, even my friends, because I'm making my own YouTube channels. I don't need to see other people sailing, but I'm definitely gonna follow this because I want to see what you're gonna do.
There you go. 18 viewers now, people.
Yeah. So go.
Might be in the 20s.
If you guys want to follow along as well, you can go to this link. It's youtube.com/sailingintofreedom.
Yeah.
And that link will be in the description as well. Thank you for the story. Thank you for the time. And tune in to the next podcast. We're going to do a series of these while we're here again in the Sandblast together. And hopefully we'll get 3 or 4 of them done. But one of them is going to be that numbers and catamarans and how to pick them and how they're built. And then we've got some ideas for a couple others. Yeah?
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you, James. Top stuff.
All right. Peace, love. Tune in next week.
Out.
You like that? Isn't that cool?
It's amazing.
Oh, you can't hear the music.
No, I can hear it from here. She must be loud with your. Well, mind you, I got big jalopas.
Oh, you do have huge ears.
I do.
Never saw that before.
What do you think I got this hair to cover them?
Oh, that's funny.
If the girls see that, they run away. This is a Neanderthal from Africa.
Show me again. Show me those huge floppers. Wow, you got some big old ears, bro. You ever think about maybe having surgery to get those like taken down a bit?
Yeah, it's. I think it's multiple surgeries. They have to cart in a trailer. Okay, boys, bring it up. Beep, 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 beep.
Oh, that was fun, man. I've never heard that whole story out of your mouth before, so that was really cool.
It's finally good to say it, but there's a happy ending.
Oh man, I'm so proud of you, dude.
There was no happy ending before.
Because I remember you being like really kind of depressed, and then
slog.
I was trying to get you to do a Kickstarter, and you're like, no one's gonna donate to me, and I was like, bro, you're stupid, go. And now look at you now, bro. You got
I know.
all this stuff happening. It's so cool.
I know. It's amazing.
Congratulations, bro.
It's all sort of come together.